Good morning, boys and girls, and it is Wednesday today. And I have a quick message for you before we move on to our date. And this is in relation to First Penance and First Communion, and it's regarding baptism certificates. Now, you'll remember last week I sent you out a message just asking if you were intending for your child to make their First Penance and First Communion, and when and where they were baptised and so forth. Now, if your child was baptised outside of Armagh, we will need a copy of their baptism certificate from whatever church or parish in which they were baptised. So that may mean writing off or calling the church or parish in which your child was baptised and requesting a copy of the certificate, because we're going to need that. And you need to bring it into the school, and then we can copy it and give it straight back to you, all right? Now, if your child was baptised in Armagh, then we do not need a copy of their baptism certificate because we will already have a record of it on file, all right? Now, let's move on to our date. And it is Wednesday, the 3rd of March, 2021. Wednesday, the 3rd of March, 2021. Spellings next then, and we're continuing to practice the L sound. So you say the words before me today because we're now into Wednesday. Self, felt, milk, help, fold, also, all, shell, yellow, aisle, yule, wheel. Very good. So for our sounds in focus today, and question 5, we are looking at contractions. Now, we have looked at these before quite recently, and you have quite a lot of contractions on your word list this week. 7 in fact. And you'll see them here: I'll, he'll, she'll, we'll, it'll, you'll, and they'll. And those are all contractions. You often know contractions by the little apostrophe in the middle. That's it there. And a contraction is when two words are joined together to make one word. So here, they've taken out the W-I from will, and they've squashed it all together. So instead of I will, he will, and so on, they've changed it to I'll, he'll, and so on. And you are being asked to turn these pairs of words into contractions. It will, we will, you will, and they will. Now that won't be hard at all because all of those contractions are already in the word list. So it's just really a matter of finding the right one and copying it out. Once you've done that, then you have to insert your newly made contractions into these sentences. And that won't be too hard either because they've given you the first letter of each contraction. All right, so there's I, so that has to be it'll, doesn't it? Because that's the only contraction beginning with I. So I'll just read through these sentences to make sure you understand them. Something be hot at the beach. Something go into cars. Something be in my car. Tell your friends something be in the other car. Now, it sounds a bit weird with me saying something instead of the actual contraction. It'll make a lot more sense once you insert it into the line there. Question 6 then gives you different pairs of letters, and you have to decide each time which pair of letters you need to put at the end of these lines here, or the end of these groups of letters to make a word. So SE, for example, what could we put at the end of SE to make a word? Well, we could put SELL for sell, and that would be one word made. Now there's another SE word, and I'm not going to tell you what you put at the end of it, but it's one of these pairs of words. And it's the same with all of these. Choose a pair of letters to put at the end of each of these to make a word. And that would be enough sounds in focus for today. Today for our literacy, we are looking at question or command, and making sure that we know the difference between each one. Now, when someone asks a question, when that question is written down, it has a question mark at the end, and you can see it there above the word question. And a person is requesting something or needs something when they ask a question. Whereas when someone says a command, they're just making a statement. Now, they may still need you to do something, but it's not a question as such. So they might say, a teacher, for example, might say, check over your work carefully there. That would be a command. They're telling you to do something. Now, a command can be done in a normal voice, or a command could be loud. Get out of this room now! Exclamation mark. That would also be a command. But a command doesn't necessarily have to be shouty or loud. It's just a person saying something. And sometimes at the end of that sentence you would write a full stop, and sometimes you would use an exclamation mark. So let's have a look at our work for today. Now for question from A down to G, you have to read each of these and decide whether it is a question or a command. Now this little thing here will be a great clue for you to know whether it's a question or a command. And then you put either a C or a Q at the end for a question or command. That's all you have to do in part 1. So tidy your room. If you think that's a question, you would put a Q there. If you think it's a command, you would put a C there. Question 2 then asks you to add the right punctuation to finish these sentences. And that just means that it wants you to add either a question mark if you think it's a question, a full stop if you think it's just a normal command, or an exclamation mark if you think it's a more of a shouty command. So I'll just read through all of this here now just to make sure you understand the words. You can skip on ahead in the video a little bit if you know these already, okay? Tidy your room. Would you like some cheese? Which way is it to the doctor's? Get me some new socks. Is this a command? Check your work carefully. Stand on your head. Go back into the classroom. Finish your dinner and go out to play. How high will your kite fly? Meet us in London. Is Paris the capital of France? Stop fighting! Now this first one here, 2A, it is a command, I'll tell you that, but you can decide whether you think it needs a full stop or an exclamation mark. And it would really depend on how the teacher, for example, was talking. So if she said to her children, go back into the classroom, that's what you would give it. But if the teacher was grumpy, she might say, go back into the classroom. Like that. So I'll let you decide which one you want to use for that particular command. All right.